Tammy Johnston, I got a question for you. Are you an entrepreneur?
Oh, to my core, I'm unemployable.
Well, you well, you've qualified for the Plan to Prosper Small Business Academy. That's really the only requirement is people who are kind of unemployable. Some people got a job and they're a piece of employable. They work and they have a business.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to be entrepreneurs. So you're in the right place. So welcome to the Plan to Prosper Small Business Academy. I'm so happy to be here. I'm with you and I'm excited because I read something in your bio. It had a little something to do with kicking ass and holding hands. Is the ass kicking and the hand holding at the same time, or is it a successional
Sometimes.
thing? So once I want you to tell me about yourself and about your business. How long have you been doing what you do and what do you do?
So I have been running my own business for over 20 years. Um, my clients name me the Hold Your Hand and Kick Your Ass business coach.
Okay.
So I've been working with small businesses for all of that time. And I specialize in working with solopreneurs as early in their journey as possible, like idea stage up to 2 years, because that's where the failure rate is astronomical and unnecessary. And they're failing not because there's a problem with their product or service or that the business owner isn't working hard enough. They usually have that stuff all down. They're failing because they are lacking the basic foundational business skills that they need to first survive and then thrive. So that's where I
Perfect.
focus. That's where
Perfect.
I focus.
That is why you're here. Because the Plan to Prosper Small Business Academy, some people think it's like a luck thing. They think they're gonna create like, I don't know, Facebook and like blow up. So I
luck
like to
luck definitely plays a small part, but if you're doing the right things, luck comes a lot more. If your goal is luck will make this work, oh, don't save yourself the time, money, and grief. Just save yourself the time, money, and grief.
so what do you need? So you need an idea, first of all.
Well, a lot of people don't even necessarily start with a concrete idea. They want to start a business, but they have so many different interests and abilities and they're seeing all sorts of things that you don't necessarily have to have a pinpointed idea to begin with. You need to start building your business skills and doing a little bit of market research and figuring out, okay, how can I take my interests or what problems am I seeing and how can I come up with a way of helping people with those?
I find that some people, I think it's because of the internet, they don't trust their own ideas. So they're copying what they see somebody else do, but it might not fit them. Like they want to get into travel
Mhm.
business or they want to, like there's a thing where people want to just be a VA. Being a VA, you've got to have a set of skills and interests to really be successful in that. But people see other people doing it, so they just set up shop.
Yep.
And but I hear you saying it has to be something that's in your skill set and in your wheelhouse a little bit, right?
Oh, completely.
Because I don't know how you could, like, I can bake a cake, but if you want me to start a baking business, it might struggle a bit. I might you will only get my pound cake, my cream cheese. But I see people trying to build full-fledged
Yeah, I'm going.
businesses.
I can. My daughter just had her birthday and she wanted me to make her cake, and so we cut up the cake and I gave it to her and I said, her and her friend that she had over, and I'm going. It doesn't look good, but it tastes good.
Exactly. So and we can't charge for that, maybe, or maybe it's a discount.
No.
So when people come to you, so let me back up. So are these primarily females, male, young, or do you just cover the gamut?
I have covered the gamut. I've had the youngest person I've had go through with me for small business stuff was like 18.
Mm,
The youngest was in their, I mean, the oldest was in their 70s. I've deal with men, I deal with women, I deal with people that are in product businesses, I deal with people that are in service businesses. My thing is, are you willing to do the work? Because there is no magic wand. You have to do the work. I'm a strong personality, as you might have picked up from the
I like
hold
it.
your hand and kick your ass. So the delicate flowers or the snowflakes don't typically come to me. But if you want to learn how to set up a business, because there's 8 basic foundational pieces that every single business needs.
Okay.
Mindset, habits, marketing, financials, advisory team, systems, cash flow, and profit. You need all 8 of those. You need to understand them. You need to build on them. You have all of them, your chances of success are much higher. You're missing any of them or more of them, your chances for crashing and burning go through the roof.
And
That's
we're
why
going to
the
list
failure
those in the
rate
show
is
notes.
so high in the first 2 years.
If you didn't get that, don't worry. We're going to list those 8 in the show notes. But one of the things I start with is, as a matter of fact, there's another podcast early on in the episodes that's about, it's called Girl Get Your Mind Right. And I'll link that in there, because mindset is so important about giving you the platform to even learn the other things.
Yep.
But some people I find to be unteachable. Have you found any clients that you can't crack that nut?
One or two, like, it's pretty rare, the people that I work with. It's just, they think they want something, but they're not willing to make any changes in their life or business to actually implement it. They expect some magic wand to rescue them. And it's frustrating and it's heartbreaking, because I'm going, yes, you could be doing so much better, but you won't do a damn thing to change. And that's why nothing is getting better.
Exactly. And I find the same thing. And I've run out of words to say, actually. I don't know. Second, for me, going and actually doing the business for them, sometimes it's very, very hard. So, what would you say to our listeners who might be that stubborn person, who might be saying, she's not talking about me, but I ain't changed nothing? What would you say if you could speak into
If you're
that
not
person's
willing
heart?
to change, don't go into business, because you
Ooh.
will not make it. Business is constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
Until you are ready to make changes, to learn and to grow, don't waste your time or money.
I think, dear listeners, that was the butt kicking part. I think that was
Yeah,
I think
that
that was a.
was.
I think that was the butt kicking. That was a little foot. I felt a toe. I don't know. I think it was your big toe. I don't know if it was left foot or right foot, but I felt it. But it has to. We have to talk tough to people at times, because this is about money, and sometimes they're pouring money after money after money and not getting the results. And we want to stop the train before they get too far. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and I've seen so many clients, well, not necessarily so many clients, but so many people go in and they think that the way to fix everything is to throw money at it. Well, that doesn't work. I've seen a few very big successful businesses that started off, and their biggest problem was they started with too much money. And their
Yes.
answer to everything was throw money at the problem, throw money at the problem, until they ran out of money and the problem wasn't fixed.
So I think
Where
when you have too much
there's
money, you
actual
don't have to think,
blessings to starting off broke and having to learn and grow and be creative.
because you have to think. Yes, you do. You have to
Mm-hmm.
think. Yeah, so you can start with too much money. That is a earth shattering probably thought for some of our listeners, because they're thinking, if I had the money, I would go and build a whole building. Like, I've seen clients who've had too much money and they went and signed a lease they shouldn't have. Like, you don't
Yep.
even need a storefront. Why do you need an office? You could do that from your house. So I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that, definitely. So when you see a client get too far down the road, how hard is it to get them back on track if they've already made those commitments financially and
Well, it
otherwise?
depends on what the commitments are. Like, once you signed like a building lease and stuff like that, that's a big one, because commercial landlords are Satan.
Yes.
But there's a lot of stuff that you need. Like, if you're in it, okay, how can you make the best of a bad situation? So what can you do to be bringing in more customers and upping your profit and your cash flow and stuff like that? You can buckle down. But there's so many people that go into panic mode, or I'll just ignore it and everything will work until they're sunk. Where like I said, this is why I like getting them as early in their journey as possible, where if I can get them before, like, let's really get you thinking about this stuff, because so many, especially when you're talking about storefronts and stuff like that, they have this emotional thing and they're going, oh, I'm going to make this great restaurant or retail store or whatever, and it's going to look amazing. And all I have to do is I just have to put a nice sign out front and everything's going, build it and they will come. Field of Dreams is one of the biggest bullshit things ever. That's the movies. That is not real freaking life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It
You
has to
have to have,
answer
what is your
something.
plan for marketing, so that when you have people, when you're opening the door, that you already have people coming in and stuff like that. I've worked with a lot of franchise owners, and so many of them go in and they're going, well, I bought into this nice big franchise and stuff. I don't have to do any marketing. And then they wonder why this is what their income is. Like, yeah, they're basically making, well, how come I'm not getting more and more? Because you're not doing any freaking work.
Correct.
You're not
Correct.
marketing. You're not building the relationships. Yes, you come with a lot of systems, but there's still systems that you need to put in place for the marketing and everything else. Are you going through your numbers and learning what the wonderful stories they are that are telling you, so that you can better market?
So you got me so excited because that's the other thing I wanted to touch on of your eight, the financials. That's my area. And in my
Mm-hmm.
course, I have a course on accounting basis for entrepreneurs, and we tell people how to build their money story. So let's talk about that
Mm-hmm.
for a minute. So sometimes I found that, well, I find it oftentimes that it's not about making more money. Is when you have little money, you figure out how to plug the holes, and that will allow you to make more money. So talk about teaching entrepreneurs to not be afraid of numbers. I don't really understand how you want to be in business, but you're afraid of numbers. I'm not
But
clear on
that's
how
so
to.
common. And
Yeah,
you
it
see
is.
you see that too. They want to, they're technicians. They want to provide their product or service or all that stuff. They don't want to look at the numbers, because unless the phone is ringing off the hook because the collection agencies are calling, or there's so much money coming in and they want to see the great big huge, the lovely positive numbers on the bank statements, they don't want to look at it. But I'm
So
just going, you are
how do they
missing.
overcome the fear? How do you get them over that hump? Because I'm having a challenge sometimes.
I get them to understand what the value is in their numbers. So for example, when I'm working with my retail clients, I want them to track their cash flow hourly. So I'll
Wonderful.
even do the simple thing of, okay, put together a sheet of paper, break it down 15 minutes. Okay. And you've got every day of the week. How much money did you make in this 15 minutes? How much? And if you want to put like notes, like what was it? And you start to see the pattern. So for example, if you have your shop open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., but the cash register doesn't ring consistently until like 11:30, why are you opening at that hour? Or if you're going to be open, what are you going to be doing in that time before the cash register starts to ring, other than twiddling your damn thumbs? And then you start
Exactly.
saying, okay, well, every Wednesday we're really busy in between like 1:30 and 3. Why? What's going on?
What's
And then you
happening
can
in the
start figuring
neighborhood?
out,
Yes.
oh, okay, well, that office always has their staff meeting. And so they come over and they get the stuff for the staff meeting and stuff. Wonderful. How can I be marketing to some of the other offices in that building and different things like that? So when you start seeing, but you can't just, I love accountants and all this stuff, and I love the reports, but sometimes you just don't get into those beautiful nitty gritty details that get you to start asking the right questions. I always want my clients to do their own bookkeeping for 6 months to a year, because
Yes.
I want you to get intimate with the numbers. I want you to get into the habit of playing with it, because then you start to see things. You start to recognize things that can make you so much money and save you so much. But if
Exactly.
you don't understand how things should be looking and like start asking the questions, how much opportunity are you missing by avoiding those numbers?
Because you can't tell what the cause is. And just because some things are correlating doesn't mean that you understand what the cause of that change was. And so that's why I created that course, Accounting Basis for Entrepreneurs, because you need to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you should be telling your accounting what your chart of accounts should look like.
Yep.
You should be educating them because they're not
Mm-hmm.
there when you're twiddling your thumbs. They don't know. They're just going to see one number for the month or for the week. And
Yep.
so I think it's empowering to, especially with this entrepreneurial jump where people are getting into business, it's easier than ever with online businesses. You can set up a
Mm-hmm.
website and do coaching. So we're going to talk about coaching in a moment, but you can do coach. Everybody and their mama is a coach. I'm just saying, but but it's so easy. But you got to do this stuff. You got to.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you should have stayed at your job. If you didn't want to think about numbers, you should have just stayed punching the
Well,
clock.
a lot of people think like it's going to be complicated, and they're going, oh, well, figuring out the tax. yes, you definitely need to be working with a good accountant, and you can have, like, I have a lot of my clients that we get them set up with a bookkeeper to supervise them to begin with so that they're
Yes.
getting things done properly. And then you have somebody that you can ask and talk to, but you need to get friendly with your numbers. And as soon as they start understanding, oh, well, this, I never realized that. And they start getting into it and they're going, you're just basically doing your data input and you're doing it. So you're slowing down enough to start seeing things, and they get excited about it. But I think it's going to be complicated and math. And if I don't do this right, CRA or the IRS or whatever the tax people are in your country are going to be breathing down your neck. So they don't want to do it. It's scary, but it's
But
not scary.
and tax starts with the financials. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to have some good financials to even know what you. And one thing I tell my clients, that tax and expenses are none of your business. You need to figure out how many sales you need to make to cover those taxes. You aren't coming with that out of your own individual pocket. It's being paid out of the business. So if you
Mm-hmm.
aren't, so that means most of the time those people aren't charging enough or don't have the right sales or profit mix to even cover it. Taxes just should be just another, another check you stroke, just like your internet service or whatever, and you're controlling
Yeah.
it
And
by
there's so
managing
many
your
that
business.
do not understand the difference between profit and cash flow. I
Oh,
because my background is financial services. So I've
mm-hmm,
been in financial services for 29 years. That
mm-hmm,
is my primary business, and I've been doing the business coaching and all that alongside of it, but I separated my company into two in 2019 so it could easier focus on the business coaching and that. So I typically get called in when there's a financial catastrophe. And a common one is, okay, Tammy, it's Monday. Payroll is on Friday and there's no money in the account. What do I do? And the first question I ask is, so tell me about how do you do your invoicing? How do you look after things? And they usually go as pink as my shirt, and the head goes down and going, well, we've been so busy working that we haven't sent an invoice in 3 months. And I'm going, and that's why you have no freaking
that's
money
why you
in your
have no
account.
money. And I
That's why you
caution
have no
people.
money in your. I said, you pay a bill you haven't received. No. Well, either does anybody else. Well, we have to get that system and stuff set up. Like, what are the funniest things? Not a client of mine, because I would have kicked his ass way too hard before this. But I have a friend.
This is my kicking. This is the kicking. When I hear you
Yeah.
piss people off, I do.
And her parents are a bit of a hoarder situation, and the all the adult kids finally got fed up, and we're going to have a massive project day up down at mom and dad's place, and we're going to deal with this. My girlfriend was helping her dad deal with the dining room, which was her dad's business office.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't, there was a small space on the table that was where he could actually do a little bit of work. The rest of it's stacked everywhere. There's like boxes and stacks everywhere. So she literally goes through and like gets out the handy dandy mail opener and starts sliced, like, oh, because he hasn't opened his mail, he just gets tossed into the mess. And by the time she finishes going through everything, she finds more than $15,000 worth of stale dated checks, because dad would get paid and he'd just throw it in the pile. And like, no wonder you have no money. You never put it in the bank.
Can I give you a confession? So I was
Yep.
just the other day. So I was like, I was looking at my bank account. I'm like, in my mind, I thought I made, because even accountants, we have to do our own accounting. So I'm like,
Of
so what's
course we
going
do.
on? I was like, what's going on? Then I realized I hadn't emptied out the PayPal into the business account.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, I was busy for like last week was really busy. And I'm like, something is a little off. So I think that's the modern day version of not opening the checks. It's not paying attention.
Yep.
Another issue I find on with the technical setup part of it is that some people have stuff diverted into different accounts. They don't have a separate business bank account, or they get stuff paid by Cash App and it's kind of all in loosey goosey. The other issue I see, and you can tell me if you've seen the same, is some services don't need a delayed payment. It needs to be payment before the service, because
Mm-hmm.
some people aren't paying. So how do
Yep.
you feel? How are folks with um I don't know, people are afraid to ask for money for their services? What is that?
Well, a lot of people, it's afraid they don't want to be salesy. They don't want to bring it up and things like that. And I'm just going, you need to get over that. And there's ways of being. forward and upfront. And you would rather have that conversation before you start putting your heart and soul into working with them, rather than afterwards trying to just hope that they'll remember to pay you or whatever. It's a great sorting tool, but that is a huge thing with so many people. Like they feel so much fear and shame and imposter syndrome and stuff, so they don't want to ask. They're just going, I'll just, if I do such a really good job, they'll just willingly pay me. Well, most will, but you still have to ask for it.
Exactly. And it needs to be an easy way to pay. It needs to be, you know what I
Yes.
mean? They should not have to hunt you down, or but it should be simple. So that means they should get an email or
Mm-hmm.
something that's on a set schedule. But sometimes a simple solution like that will bring the cash in. So it's not that they don't
Yep.
have a business or it's not good. The services are good. And sometimes people are coming to you because they know they don't have to pay you on time. Just
Yep.
saying. They know you're the most passive of the service providers.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, when people need money from us, usually they're on us. You
Oh
know what
yeah,
I'm
our
saying?
creditors know how to find us.
Exactly. And if you're a business owner, you're a little bit like a creditor. You gotta get that
Mm-hmm.
um mindset and not the fear. And I think it's too about us understanding our worth. And if I've done this service for
Mm-hmm.
you, you can pay me. And if we have a problem
Yeah.
with that, we can't do business going forward. It's okay to fire clients. Do you you
Oh
feel
yes.
do you
In
feel like
fact,
you
and it's even better to not take them on in the first place. If your belly button is going off, this person's going to be a jerk. Your belly button is never wrong.
exactly. If it's hard like to get the appointment on the calendar, to get them to meet with you timely, and for me it's kind of easy to see when I start asking them financial questions and or they'll tell me how stupid their last accountant was. Okay. Hmm. No, we can't do business. It's okay. It's okay. So I want to talk a little bit about coaching, and because you're an OG in the game, you've been doing it for a while. How do you feel about the era or what's going on in the marketplace with coaching and coaching? First of all, I wanted to take away the lesson that coaching should happen as early as possible. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a takeaway that we have to stamp on this episode. But how do you feel about just the arena of coaching? I know you talk a lot about ethics and making sure that you're delivering what you promise. So, do you have any opinions on just the coaching and the environment that we're in now? We find ourselves in now.
Oh, I definitely have some opinions
You're free to
on it because,
express
like
them
you
here.
said, it seems that everybody and their dog is a coach now. And one of the things I found, and it's not just for coaching; it's for absolutely everything. I call it the 595 rule. 5% of whoever is doing it, whether it be doctors, coaches, teachers, engineers, whatever, 5% are like the pinnacle. They know what they're doing and they care about doing the job right. They're the best. That's why they're the top 5%. 90% are various forms of average. If you're lucky, you're dealing with the higher end of average. And then 5% are what I call the assholes. These are the ones that know that they're ripping you off. And they have no qualms about it. Fortunately, like I said, they're the minority. And I'm all for coaching. I've worked with coaches. When I first started doing my coaching, and I wasn't necessarily calling it coaching back then, it was still a relatively new thing. It was very much an up and coming thing. But you need to know what exactly are you looking for. Like, one of the biggest problems I'm having now is there's so much. We're supposed to specialize, which is wonderful if you need a specialist. I call them ologists, like an oncologist or gynecologist or an ophthalmologist. They're very, very specialized. And people go, okay, I'm in pain. I'm starting a business. I know I need to do some marketing and stuff. So there's this coach that's putting out their Facebook market ad course and stuff looks amazing, and it probably is. I've seen some, but I'm going. So they drop a lot of money and time, and they learn how to do this very specific thing, but they're missing all the other pieces, and they're wondering why. Well, I got some people in the first round, but then nothing ever happened again because I'm going, you're missing all the other pieces. Or I'll have a messaging coach, or another common one that I'm seeing more and more, a mindset coach. And yes, these are all important, But if you don't have the basic foundational skills, you will have dropped tens of thousands of dollars on these coaches. And not saying there's anything wrong with the coaches, but they just want, a lot of the time, they just want your money, and they're not going to go through and sort and go, are you ready to be working with me? Yes, I will happily
Wow.
take your 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, but are you ready to be playing at that level? So I'm considered very weird because like I said, I consider myself more like a really good family doctor. We look after the general health. We get you the
Correct.
basics and the foundation. And then when you're ready or you need more specialized help, like, okay, now we're ready. We've got all your systems put together. You understand your financials. We've got it all put together. Okay, now let's market. Then let's find that coach.
So I
Where I've
found
had
that,
so many people that have come in my world and they've literally dropped tens of thousands of dollars on all these
yes.
coaches and programs, and they're not accomplishing anything because I'm going, you're trying to work with like Usain Bolt's running coach when you're a fat, overweight white woman like me with flat feet. Nothing
And
wrong with the coach,
I've even
but
had
that's a
coaches.
mixed match.
I've been in some programs that I have gone through just for my business where people have tried to force me to niche down. And I'm like, I'm a CPA. I'm like, no, I need to understand the total health and make sure the chart of accounts is the stuff. No, you should niche down like to what? Only hairstylists? What are you saying? And it's been, so I've had to kind of walk away and say, no, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And the specialists, I agree. The specialists have their place, but sometimes, so after your Facebook ads are good and you've got them all set up, what are you selling? What
Yeah.
price are you selling them at? Do you have an
Are
accounting
you are you
system that,
keeping the people that you brought in as customers, or is it a one
yes.
and done because you can't deliver, and all of the different things? I'm another one that, like, people say, well, who do you work with? I work with baby businesses, idea stage to 2 years, people who actually want to do the work. It doesn't matter to me if it's product, what product is, what the industry is, what the service is, because I've been doing this for 20 years and I've worked with all of them. And one of the things I love about it when I'm doing my classes and stuff, because I have people from like all over
Yes.
the world now, and all different backgrounds, and like I said, product, service, industry, is you get to learn from one another and you get to see different things, and ideas get together and create new ideas, and you get to interact with people that aren't your competition and could potentially be your customers, maybe not because of the geographic stuff, but you get to have so much more out of it. Where if all you're doing is, I'm playing with hairstylists and this is all we talk about, you're missing out on so much of the picture. There's
I
places
agree.
for your specialists and your ologists, but if you don't have any general doctors, you end up with a very sick population.
Exactly. But you might have a very healthy foot, though. Your whole body might be
Oh
broken.
yeah, your foot's right. The cancer's running rampant through the rest of your body. You're overweight and you can't sleep, but your foot's freaking awesome.
Exactly. Exactly. It's really been challenging for me. I had an experience even yesterday, and I wanted to learn about LinkedIn. I was just asking a person, and she's like, "But you're not in my niche." I just, I just said, "Do
Alrighty then.
you don't want my money? Okay." And she's like, "And I
Well,
don't." So I found the information. But I was like, "Oh, cool!" And she had a coach, whatever, and I was like, "Oh, cool." She said, I'll so that do you do?" She said, "So where did you get your where's your target audience?" I'm like, "I just want to know about the subject." And I don't know, well, she missed the money that day. Okay,
yeah.
cool, cool, cool. So, Tammy, if you could share with somebody, we're always reaching to, because you talk about those baby businesses, and if especially, and we're women of a certain age, to the moms, to the empty nesters, as myself, who have been serving in PTA in the church and baking cakes and putting on events, and we want to start a business, but we don't know where to start. What would you say to that population?
What would I say to that population? Oh, there's a lot I would say to that population. Number one, you can do it, but you
Mm,
have to get the right education and you have to get the right support, because um, there is so much stuff that you're going to learn, and we are taught to be employees. And
Mm.
how to run a business is pretty much the exact opposite, and the
Yes.
things that you need to do. If you do not already have a habit of putting in some time daily into learning. So I read every single day. I listen to audiobooks every single day because I'm always learning things. It helps with my mindset and stuff. It gives me opportunities to think. And you need to start surrounding yourself with people that are in business. So, one of the big things that changed for me is my circle of friends from when I was employee in the first little bit of my business, and my circle of friends after 2 years and to now, very, very different.
Mm.
Like a lot of the people I started that were my friends and we did a lot of socializing and stuff when I started my business, they're still friends and they're still clients in a lot of cases. Um, but we talk about our kids and that's about it. I can't talk about business with them because they look at me like I'm speaking Klingon.
Yes.
But I started doing some networking and I actually got in with a really, really good group coaching program early in my business that focused on businesses. So I met other people that were in the arena, sweating and bleeding and putting in the work. And we became friends and we learned from one another and we support one another. Where my friends that are employees and my family members that are employees, they love me and they want to support me, but they can't they can't even connect.
Exactly. Like I used to try to get feedback like on graphics or even a logo. And they would like be, I'm like, no, that's not what, no, it's, they didn't understand. And that's okay. And that's okay. So you talk a lot about education. So now, so you know Yulika, you know Tammy. You go two people here you can learn from. So tell us how we can connect with you so we can hear from you on a regular basis and get fed that way.
So you can always go to my website, which is ksabusiness.ca. And if you don't know, the KSA stands for kick some ass business.ca.
Well, I can only do a punch in the face, but the people on
No,
YouTube will see it.
not a problem.
But the people on who listen to
Just call me
podcasts,
Chris Rock, dear.
I am punching the oh punch it in the face. How relevant.
Yeah, you know when we recorded this. So
Exactly.
you can
We're
always go to my
recording
website. You
this
can
the
find me
day
on
after the
Instagram at
Oscars.
ksa.business.
Hmm.
And here's what I put together to help kind of people sort out where they are is I put together what I call my Solopreneur Self-Assessment,
Hmm.
which is a quick little questionnaire where people can go through and figure out where they're strong because everybody comes in with some strengths and
Yes.
we can grow those. Where are we weak? Because everybody has weaknesses. We need to work on those. And most importantly, the things we didn't even know we didn't know that if we don't learn are going to bite us in the ass, take out a huge chunk, and we won't lose any damn weight.
Exactly. So it's be sad to be broken, not have a butt at the same time. Because
Yeah.
that's not good.
So you can get that at ksabusiness.ca/gift.
And we'll put
So
the link in the show notes. The link will be in the
yeah,
show
you
notes
can
and
get
then
that.
under the video.
And if you wanted to book a free get to know me call, so to see how I can help you, I would love to talk to you. I am on a mission to improve the success rate of baby businesses.
And the link will be in the show notes. Any more links? What else does I need to link? What you
No,
got?
I can't, dear. I'm all about keeping it simple.
All right, all right. So all of that will be in the show notes. I'm so excited because I'm getting to meet more people like me. This I think we're doing the thing. I think we're building our network of friends who are in business and think like us, or that are crazy enough to go and hang and do wonderful things and see if the people will come and support us.
Exactly.
So I thank you so much. You have so much in your repertoire. Do you mind coming back with us down the road?
I would love to come back.
Because we have so much butt kicking, ass kicking to do. And I want to also, if you have a success client, and we'll do a threesome, not anything gross, but we will bring them on. And because I want to show people that you can do this. This is not hard. Really, the accounting is just addition and subtraction for the most part. Money
Yeah,
can
if you
only
can
come in and
count,
go out.
add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you got everything you need.
Exactly. And don't be afraid of the numbers. So thank you so much. I am just so humbled and excited to meet you today and introduce you to the Plan to Prosper Small Business Academy. You have been duly knighted as a member.
Yeah,
Hello.
it has been my honor.
Do we need a ceremony? We'll think about that. Something
You need to get yourself like one of those trick swords that you can get at like a dollar store or whatever, so you can knight
knight
like the queen
people.
does.
Because I'm not knocking universities, but they give out honorary degrees. I'm just saying the Plan to Prosper Small Business Academy can do that.
You
So thank
could.
you so much. Well, you'll be back and look in the show notes.